Sit quietly. And if you feel like it, let your eyes close, so that you may notice whatever sensations are present in your body. In particular, become aware of any sensations, or tensions, or pains that you might have been fighting, not to try to change them, simply to notice them with an interested and kind attention. In each area of struggle, if you find one, let your body relax. Let your heart soften. Let yourself open to whatever you experience without fighting it. Let go of the battle by breathing quietly and letting it be. Now shift your attention to your heart and mind so that you can notice what feelings and thoughts are present. In particular, let yourself become aware of any feelings or thoughts that you may now be struggling with, fighting, denying, avoiding. Not to change them, but to notice them with an interested and kind attention. Let your heart be soft. Let yourself be open to whatever you experience within, without fighting it. Let go of any battle by breathing quietly and letting it all be. Continuing to sit quietly, let your attention be cast out even wider over your whole life. So you can let come into your attention any battles that may still exist in your life, so that you can sense them inside of you. And if you find you have an ongoing struggle with, for example, your body, let yourself be aware of that. Or if you have been fighting inner wars with your own feelings, or been in conflict with your own loneliness, or fear, confusion, or your grief, or your anger, or an addiction, let yourself sense the struggle you've been waging. Let yourself notice the struggles in your thoughts as well. Let yourself become aware of how you have carried on some of these inner battles. Notice the inner dictator, the inner fortifications. Let yourself become aware of all that you may have fought within your own self, and of how long you may have participated in the conflict. Very gently, with gentle openness, allow each of these experiences, as you touch on them, allow them to be present, simply so that you can notice each of them in turn. Notice them with interest and with kind attention. And in each area of struggle that you notice, let your body be soft. Let your heart be soft. Let your mind be soft. Let your breathing be soft. So that you can let go of the battle. And in this way, invite all parts of yourself to join you at the peace table within your own heart. And I invite you to breathe in now with me, so that as we exhale, we begin to open our eyes and return to the activity of the room in a peaceful way. The meditation that I just read to you comes from A Path with Heart by Jack Cornfield. And it's a great book in that it has a meditation like that in almost every chapter. And it occurred to me that a great practice that I've done in the past is to read such a meditation into a recording device like a smartphone or a recorder, and then to play it back, because it's difficult to refer to a book when you're trying to meditate like that. And there is something exquisite about hearing the meditation in your own voice. First of all, you'll start to become aware of how much time you need between the phrases, because you'll notice the instructions go on too quickly. You need more space, and over time you'll really be able to find your own weight and your own pace. It's a beautiful practice to do. As you heard from Reverend Kim this month at the center, is all about meditation, and we are actually in production creating this booklet, Meditation, a Month of Practice, which will be available at our Wednesday evening service for free. And in it, it presents at least 4 kinds of meditation that you can experiment with and participate with everybody else who self-selects to do the meditation practices, starting on the 7th and going through the 31st of the month. And the way it works is that at the end of each week's practice, there's a checklist for you to check off you did your meditation practice. It's the idea of bringing, many parts of you into the practice. Similarly to when you're counting calories on a diet, or you keeping track of your repetitions at the gym, that added record keeping, it has a way of enrolling us into the practice. And then at the end of every week, there is a space and a question for you to reflect upon what you've become aware of in the practice. So at the end of the month, you will have at least journeyed through 4 types of meditation. And of course, there are as many styles of meditation as there are people on the planet. And our task this month is to help become familiar with meditation, what it is, and what it might do for us. The topic for today is, I am listening. And I want to reframe that. I want to turn it into a question. Am I listening? That's the whole message. Am I listening to the wisdom that is all around me? There is an intelligence in the universe, of the universe. It is the universe. It is the all that is. We call it spirit. It's around us. It's above us, below us, in us, through us. It is permanently available all the time, and it cannot be lost, destroyed. However, it appears to be that it can be covered over with the busyness of an unsupervised mind. There's the whole message. At the Center for Spiritual Living, one of my privileges, my duties, is to teach spiritual practices to access that wisdom in a conscious way, to wake up to its available presence in our life, so that we can listen past the things that covered up, listen past my fears, listen past the conditioning of my culture, listen past the voice of my worry, listen beyond even my goals and my plans and my desires. Listen beyond all of those busy and very important voices that are so busy inside of us. Listen beyond even my jealousy and whatever else is in there. Beyond to that wisdom. Listen to it. And by practice, I mean the things that I do regularly, the exercises, the methods that over time I've discovered work for me, and I believe, because I'm confident in them, that other people can benefit from some of them too. So my task is to share them. And the thing I have learned about spiritual living, that's a life where you have spiritual practices that connect you to this intelligence. The thing in these nearly 20 years of teaching about spiritual living that I have come to realize is that there is an art to it. And there is a secret. And here's the secret. It is very much like a well-balanced diet. It requires more than one form of nutrition in order for it to be balanced. You and I cannot only eat chocolate. Well, we can, but it's not going to work out. We'll be high for a while, and then it's all going to go down. So the various styles of meditation that are mentioned in this booklet and all the rest of them is just one category of a much larger picture. It's just one slice of an entire pie. So here is that larger picture. Now think main food groups. The first one is selfless service to others. This is the practice of actively expressing loving kindness with your time and energy and effort on behalf of someone else. Indispensable. Charitable contribution. This is the practice of sharing your material wealth, whereas service is sharing your time and your physical energy. This is your treasure. Indispensable. Gratitude practices. This is the practice of appreciating, acknowledging, and thereby raising in value, in your own estimation, the things, the beings, and the people and experiences of your life. Indispensable. Affirmative prayer, we've just spent a whole month talking about it. This is the practice of daily devotional where we speak with the creative intelligence of the universe to establish direction and spiritual study. The practice of broadening my horizons by regularly introducing into my thought something that I didn't think up all by myself. And then there is meditation, the practice of listening noticing, being instructed by the spiritual genius of creation all around us. Now think, main food groups, you've got to mix it up. You've got to have a bit of everything. It's not going to go well if you just stick with one thing. And here's the thing about it, though. Of these components, and there are others, but of these over here, the first 5 that I mentioned are active in nature. They are doing activities, which is why they are more popular. People tend to take to them more easily and get established with them more, because, when you're engaged in something, you can feel productive and you feel like you're doing something. I can understand that. I was talking to a young lady who came to visit me. She's new to spiritual studies, and she's experiencing a lot of distress. She very suddenly and unexpectedly lost her job, no fault of hers, and her mind is really troubled at the time because there's so many loose ends hanging. You identify with that? Yeah. So she said to me, look, I'm a very good student. Just give me something to do and I'll do it. Spiritual practice. Give me something. And I really felt the tenderness of that. I just want to do something to address this trouble that I'm going through. Because when we're doing something, we feel useful and that we're contributing maybe towards a goal. I'm making progress towards this peace. And when I'm doing something, I can feel connected to everything else. I had that experience again when I was talking recently to a family. We were preparing a memorial service. And after the conversation, a neighbor came by and said what I hear often in times when people have made a transition. The neighbor said, what can I do? Can I do something for you? I'll do anything. Isn't that the case? Because in that doing, we feel the connection and the contribution, and I think that's part of the reason why meditation is the last thing to receive our commitment. Because it's not a doing kind of thing. It's a listening kind of thing. It's a being kind of thing. And whereas it might be easier for us to get up and get connected in the community doing some kind of service, and whereas that is wonderful and it feels good, and you can see the results real quickly, it's deeply gratifying and it's a good thing. On the other hand, it's difficult to commit to doing nothing as a spiritual practice. Especially when the culture looks at that as being lazy and as a waste of time. And maybe because it's slow to yield results. It requires patience. And I think there's another reason why some people have difficulty in committing to a meditation practice. I think because maybe their minds are already so busy and so troubled and worried that they don't yet know what to do with all of that inner noise. So if they do sit down somewhere peacefully, it just becomes a period of extended worry about what is already troubling them, so they tend not to get involved with it. I have another acquaintance who came to visit me facing very much the same trouble that the young lady had, and he came to talk to me about some intense difficulty that he was going through in his life. So as I listened, I thought to ask him, what is your meditation practice like? And he put up his hand and he said, don't go there. He said, don't even go there, because he said, right now, I can't be alone in my head. I cannot be alone in my head right now. Can you identify with that? And it's so tender, and I really understood. And so what he's doing is he's going to a lot of movies, he's watching a lot of TV, he's reading a lot of books, anything to distract himself. It's very tense and very sad. He hasn't yet learned how to be alone in his head without what's in there driving him crazy. And that's what we want to learn. How to be in there and listen. Listen to what? Well, not the noise of the little self and all of its worries and stress. No, to listen past that, beyond that, way beyond that. To listen to the song of the universe within us, to the stillness that lies beyond the reach of the mind's mischief. So I had to teach my friend how to distract his voice of worry with other things more beneficial, and we'll be looking at that as we progress through the month. It occurred to me in those conversations that the problem with a life that has no meditation in it, in my humble opinion, is that it can unintentionally become obsessed with the surface noise. It can unintentionally become convinced that that is all that there is. It can unintentionally become mesmerized by the self-importance and the insistence that you must believe those voices, while all the time, there is an available stillness underneath it all, one that we did not create, that we do not have to generate, that was always there. It was present in us and in the room and in creation before we started to even think about it. I think what I mean is that without meditation, you can end up listening to the noise of the little self for all of your advice and decisions. And it will advise you as best as it can. But you may be missing out on a rich wisdom and a deep peace that is within us and around us and through us, that one that is located beneath the surface of our thought. Here's an idea. If your mind is troubled, why do you take its advice? Are you of the habit of taking advice from troubled people? And don't get me wrong, wherever you start with spiritual practice, whether it's study or prayer or service or charitable, it's all good. I mean, you mix it all up, it's going to be wonderful, and it's all going to contribute something wonderful. You're going to have progress. You're going to awaken to a spiritual life. You're going to make connect. It's wonderful. However, if you never eat vegetables, meditation, I was watching a documentary on Henry VIII, the king with all the wives, right? And apparently during those times, the wealthy had the best of food, and that was the healthiest food was considered all meat. So that's all he ate, and drank wine. So now they're saying that's probably why he couldn't heal from his wounds. Nothing green. You've got to mix it up. You've got to have a well-balanced practice. And I think that without meditation, you, me, we may not be doing the depth of listening that we need to be doing in order to have the kind of joy and connection and meaning our souls crave. I have been watching students of metaphysics for a long time. And my experience of students of metaphysics who do not meditate is that they follow a predictable path. They reach a plateau, or they bottom out, and they lose interest, and they go to another discipline. Because they stop having the kind of results that they had when they first started and they were enthusiastic. Because now, later on, something is missing, and they have, in fact, achieved everything that they can possibly achieve using their mind alone. And so they end up not doing the deep listening that they need to be doing in order to have the kind of next phase growth that will take them beyond what they already know. And we want to go beyond that. Oh, so far beyond it. You see, the best thing I can think up is not as beautiful as the glory that is available. A preacher once humorously explained to me that the difference between prayer and meditation is that in prayer, you are telling God what to do. And in meditation, it's the only chance that God gets to tell us what to do. Are you listening? Or are you too busy? Or is what is in your mind more important? And do you believe so much in your own intellect that you can displace the wisdom of the ages? My experience is that is a perilous path. Here's a thought. If all your, mine, if all our spiritual practices are active, directive, can you really say that you're listening? If all you're doing is directing the universe with your will and your thought and your prayers and your affirmation, how will you ever hear the sounds of hearts beating all across the world? How will you be able to see beyond the forms so engaging, the pairs of opposites, to the heart of the matter? How will you know the difference between the voice of the universe and the voice of society if you don't practice patiently and kindly listening? Not to listen to yourself, but to listen to the silence that rises up when eventually yourself gets used to the idea that, yes, I am going to sit here for a while. I am. You see, we don't listen with our thinking. That is not the instrument of listening. We have to make space. Oh, it's a beautiful practice. And in the little booklet, there is this phrase I brought along. It says this: if meditation resembled any activity, it would be the activity of listening. If it required any action, it would be the action of surrender. For meditation is the practice of allowing emptiness to permeate the mind. To allow emptiness to permeate the mind. Well, we'll work up to that. Right? One step at a time, different things to find our rhythm and our pace. Just create more spaciousness for that which is eternal and immortal and everywhere present to have its way with us. I mean, my thought is that when you hear that, you will care less about the noise on the surface than the deep love of God speaking to you. Can you imagine a world of humans who are clearly attuned to their heart of love, who care less about competition and war? In this little booklet, there's this great thought. It says, right here, it occurs to me that it doesn't make a bit of difference in the world that I am connected to the powerful intelligence of the universe if I have no conscious access to it. If my mind is rushing around and I'm fighting nature and I'm fighting my own nature, what does it matter that there is a power available to me? I can pray all the prayers I want to pray. I can think all the beautiful affirmations I want to think and do all the good works I want to do. But if I'm unconscious unconscious of the very thing, the thread that connects me to all that is, that talks through me, then what is it really about? You see, my friends, spiritual living is not self-help. It's not motivational speaking. It's about a deep, abiding, enduring relationship with God. Shall we pray? I invite you to breathe in and to exhale, letting your eyes close if you wish. My peace is at the heart of God. The heart of God for me is found at the very center of my being. It does not matter how closely the confusion of the outer world presses against me. I'm not even disturbed by the confusion in my immediate environment. I know that the way for me to counteract confusion is to bring peace into conscious play. Peace I leave with you. My peace I give unto you. Not as the world giveth, give I unto you. These words of assurance stay with me, and I hear them re-echoing in the depth of my being. I recognize the one life principle working in and through me, inspiring my motives and the motives of everyone I contact. I realize there is nothing for me to fear, for I am an inseparable part of the living Spirit. I live in that Spirit, and it lives in me. I draw upon its perfect peace. My peace is found at the heart of God.